Daniel Haqiqatjou, the internet's undisputed heavyweight champion of questionable hills to die on, has officially graduated. We all knew and love him for being the world's leading defender of child marriage.
All people historically considered minor marriage perfectly normal. If you give me a chance, I'll explain why.
But now he has added the title of the world's leading defender of cousin marriage.
So if your nephew came to you with this request for the daughter's hand in marriage, would you permit it? Thank you.
I consider depending on qualities I'd have, yeah.
Yes, inbreeding, the thing the rest of human species figured out was a bad idea roughly around the time we invented fire. But why? Why is a Harvard graduate arguing that keeping it in the family literally is the secret sauce to a moral society? Is he heavily invested in the corrective eyewear industry? The answer is a mix of accidental biology, divine convenience, and a theology that forces him to argue that being smart is actually a trap. It all began in a recent debate with Andrew Wilson. Andrew came armed with what people in the business call devastating facts. He pointed out that cousin marriage is rampant in the Muslim world, over 60% rate in Pakistan and over 50% in Saudi Arabia. Now, when you compound this for 1400 years, you get, well, issues. Andrew brought receipts of massive rate of genetic defects and a plummeting average IQ that leaves entire nations unable to maintain a power grid. He basically called these Muslim societies
donkey pull cart, borderline retarded individuals.
But Daniel looked at the data showing that his preferred civilization model leads to low IQ and genetic stagnation and said, so what? He called caring about intelligence
IQ fetishism. I prefer the low IQ that abides by traditional values.
According to Daniel, the only way to keep you pious is to keep you, well, let's just say cognitively modest. I mean, if you get too smart, you might turn into a
transhumanist.
So Daniel's suggestion, let's inbreed until we are too stupid to invent Skynet. Now, isn't that brilliant? But Daniel isn't defending inbreeding because he likes birth defects. He's doing it because he has to. He's trapped in a theological escape room with no key. See, in Daniel's religion of peace, if Allah permits it, it can't be bad. If Muhammad calls it halal, then science needs to shut up. The Quran gives a list of who you can't marry: moms, sisters, aunts, but cousins are not in the list. To make it more explicit, Allah commands Muhammad to marry his own first cousin Zaynab. So if Daniel admits that cousin marriage is bad, he has to admit that Allah made a mistake, and thus Islam is false. But now he has to call genetic disorders and low IQs the actual peak of civilization because he can't say, maybe the 7th century Arabian prophet was just making things up. But why did Allah command Muhammad to marry his cousin? Oh, buckle up, because this is where it gets into daytime soap opera territory. This involves Muhammad, his cousin Zaynab, and Zayd. Who is Zayd? Zayd was Muhammad's adopted son. He was even called Zayd, the son of Muhammad. Muhammad had arranged Zayd's marriage to Zaynab, but it was a disaster. She wasn't into it. Zayd kept coming to Muhammad saying, please let me divorce her. And Muhammad kept saying, no, keep your wife. But one day, Muhammad went to Zayd's house and Zayd wasn't at home, but Zaynab was. And Muhammad saw Zaynab, let's say in a state of unreadiness, and he was struck by her beauty. He reportedly muttered praises to Allah, who turns hearts. Eventually, Zayd divorced Zaynab, but marrying your adopted son's ex-wife was a huge taboo. It was considered incestuous. But don't worry, Allah is watching, and Allah decided that this exact moment was the perfect time to set a legal precedent. So Muhammad gets an instant revelation. Quran 33:37. It says essentially, I want you to marry your cousin so that in the future, Muslim men won't feel bad about marrying their adopted sons' wives. How convenient. So Muhammad sees his cousin's nakedness, starts lusting after her, but she's married to his son. His son divorces her, and then God drops a personalized DM saying, go for it, bro. I did this for you. Talk about divine intervention in your dating life. Even Aisha, Muhammad's favorite wife, watched this revelation come down, which by the way also allowed Muhammad to manage his rotation of wives however he wanted. And she had to confess, it seems to me that your Lord hastens to fulfill your desire. Translation: funny how God always wants exactly what you want, especially when it involves women. And this is why Daniel Haqiqatjou is arguing for cousin marriage today. He is defending a 1400-year loop of circular logic where a man's desire for his cousin cousin became a divine law that can't be questioned. He would rather destroy the genetic future of his entire civilization than admit that maybe, just maybe, Aisha was onto something. So enjoy the donkey cart, Daniel. The rest of us will be over here dating strangers and trying to keep our family trees from looking like recycling symbols.